If you have been lately overthinking a big life decision and you are feeling quite exhausted, then maybe you are asking the wrong question. A few days back, I was struggling with a big career decision. Um, I was trying to have clarity about which path to choose. I had three paths. One was a job path, and the second was a business one, and the third was a business one. And each felt it had its own advantages and it had its own risks. And for almost a week or so, I did a lot of analysis, a lot of pros and cons, and deep thinking. And at the end of it, I felt more frustrated because I still didn't know which path to choose. If you're feeling something like that, let me tell you, there is a way out of it. Because after those few days of overthinking and analysis, experiencing analysis paralysis, what I experienced was a kind of clarity. I felt that, you know, what I'm really doing all of this for is trying to answer one question. Remember what I said, that I was trying to find out which path I should go, but I was not really asking that. Actually, what I was really asking for was which path is safest, which path is the most certain. I was asking which path is the one that I should take that is going to guarantee my success. And that is precisely the problem that we end up making. We do not even have the clarity sometimes what we are looking for. Often it's in the background. We almost always are looking for certainty, safety, guarantee, a path that will lead to maximum amount of success and least amount of risk. But the problem is the analysis that you do, the thinking that you do might give you some amount of clarity, but it will never tell you which path to go, because that path that you are supposed to walk is not based on certainty. It's not based on safety. It's based on alignment. And that is why often when we ask our intuition, which is the path that I should choose, it stays mum. Because it's not going to answer your question when you're asking which is the safest path, which is the most certain path, which is the most easiest path. That is not its job. That is why at the end of all those analysis, you don't feel clarity, because one part of your intelligence, which is your intuition, stays mum. It does not say anything. It is our intuition which has the last say in the matters of our life journey. That is what I have experienced in my life. Intellect can churn and process and analyze and compare and rationalize, but it will not lead to the inner clarity about which is the right path. And that is precisely what I was facing. I knew if I do this business, there is a chance of success, but I don't feel called to doing that. If I do this one, then I feel called to doing that, but I don't know how to make it happen. It feels absolutely risky. But then was this third path, which felt the safest, but my inner guidance was saying, like, no, that is not something I should focus too much on. And that is what was creating the confusion. What happened was I started asking this question instead to myself: what is the most aligned path for me to go? Which path is the most aligned for me to go? Now, you might be asking, what do you mean by that, Dechit? What do you mean aligned? Just replacing a question is going to make things clear. It doesn't make sense. You see, you have to understand, what do I mean by when I say aligned, and why the intuition only steps up and answers when you ask this question: which path is the most aligned path for me to go? Because when you say aligned, you're not asking for certainty. You're not asking for safety. You are not asking for a guarantee of success. or ease of success. None of the external things you're asking, because alignment is nothing about that. Alignment is about yourself. When you say, which is the most aligned path for me to walk on, which path should I go? What you're asking is, what is going to ensure my inner growth? What is going to ensure that I grow as a person? What should I do, or which path should I take that is going to ensure that I keep expanding myself, keep growing myself, keep evolving, don't lose my integrity, keep myself intact and blossom into my fullest version? That is what you're asking. Now, if you notice, when you ask this question, you are not asking for certainty. You're not asking for safety. You're not asking for guarantees. You're asking for something that is so much ingrained within you, which is about you, your essence, that does not require certainty. It just require you ensure what you do is aligned with who you are. And when you do that, your soul growth is guaranteed anyway. Inner growth is not connected with the outer world. So that is the most important thing. When you ask yourself, which amongst these paths is the most aligned path for me right now, that is when you will notice your intuition may just step up and give you a signal and let you know which path you should walk or focus more on right now. And that is precisely what happened when I asked myself that, which path should I visit, should focus on right now? Is it this business, this one, or maybe I should take a job? That is when it said, like, focus on this, because even though it feels risky, even if it feels unclear, it feels alive. It's asking me to go there. I feel a strong pull to go there. You see, that is the path where I am going to expand the most. Now, you might be asking now, okay, so I understand you're asking me to follow my inspiration, follow what I feel called to do, but that is risky, isn't it? Like, what if something happens? What if it doesn't work out? What if that? What if this? Walking your most aligned path is not always the safest, Debjet. Then what am I going to do? And that is precisely what I'm going to share in the next video. Because when you do choose to honor your intuition, your alignment, it does not mean that you have to walk that path blindly. That means you are going to just hope and surrender and hope things work out. No, it is not like that. That is not what your intuition is asking for, your inner guidance is asking for. You can use the other faculty that you have, which is your intellect, that I'm going to share in my next video, in order to carve out that path so that you can ensure harmony, so that you can ensure, a certain amount of safety and balance as you walk that path. It does not need to be absolutely crazy, right? So if you want to know about that, do subscribe to my channel and click the bell notification so that you don't miss when I share about that in my next video. By the way, if you have enjoyed what I've shared in this video and you want to explore more of that, then I do share more in such exploration and inquiries on topics related to consciousness, related to inner guidance, related to healing, related to living in alignment with yourself, connecting with your inner guidance in my newsletters, free newsletters that I send out every week. There I discuss these topics in great depth. If you want to experience that, do sign up for my newsletters. Link is in the description of my video. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'm going to see you again soon in the next one. Have an awesome day ahead. Bye-bye.